After real truth, life is no longer comfortable, but it becomes real. Jiddu Krishnamurti. Before we begin, here's a small ritual. Write in the comments one word that accurately describes your current state. Sign it, and let's get started. You are born, and before you even understand where you are, the program begins. They don't ask you who you are. They show you what you should become. Good grades, a good school, a stable job, a normal life. They call it structure, but it's a cage with velvet walls. From the very beginning, everything around you teaches obedience. Do this, but not that. Sit down. Be quiet. Repeat after me. They don't need you to think. They need you to follow. Because the system survives only while you sleep. They praise the polite, reward the predictable, punish the wild. But freedom has never grown from obedience. Real power is born when you begin to question the frame itself. And the frame is fake. They sell you the dream. Success, respect, security. But it's not for you, it's for them. The more you chase what they promise, the deeper you fall into the trap. The perfect job, the perfect car, the perfect apartment with payments for the next 30 years. They call that making it. But what is it really? A decorated prison, a life in chains, clean, quiet, controlled. They told you adulthood means responsibility. But no one said it means forgetting who you are, trading your fire for comfort, your voice for approval. And the worst part, you don't even notice, because everyone around you is doing the same tired eyes, the same silent dinner tables, the same scrolling, trying to feel alive through a screen. But something in you knows that this isn't it, that life is not just about bills and status and pretending. There's something wild inside, something ancient, something real. They buried it, laughed at it, shamed it, but it's still there. And the moment you hear it, really hear it, the illusion starts to crack. The system is not broken. It was designed this way, to keep you distracted, obedient, comfortable enough to not rebel, numb enough to never wake up. But now you're here, listening, feeling, and that means the spell is weakening. Because the system can control the sleeping, but not the awake. They told you success is a trophy you must bleed for, that it's only for the chosen, the exceptional, the ones who sacrifice sleep and happiness in exchange for titles and praise. You were trained to believe that success is a narrow path, guarded by gatekeepers, paved with suffering. But this idea is not just wrong, it's poisonous. Because success was never about how hard you grind, it's about how clearly you see. Most people chase things they don't even want, only because they were taught to. They wear the suit, drive the car, sit in meetings that drain their soul, just to prove they belong. But belong to what? A system built on comparison, competition, and fear. Real success has nothing to do with exhaustion. It starts when you understand your value and dare to show it. Not when someone gives you permission, not when a company hires you, but when you decide to stop hiding. Value is not something you wait for. It's something you create. And the truth is brutal. People don't pay for time, effort, or degrees. They pay for value. You could spend 10 years in school and still be irrelevant. You could speak 5 languages and still be ignored. But if you solve a real problem, if you bring clarity, comfort, strength, people will pay attention. And in today's world, you don't need a stage, a title, or a rich uncle. You need courage to be seen. Social media changed the game. Now, if you can show your skill, your mind, your truth, people from across the world can find you. You don't have to wait in line anymore. You build your own table. You set your own rules. And yes, it takes clarity. Yes, it takes effort. But not in the way they told you. It doesn't come from pleasing the system. It comes from stepping out of it. They made you believe that asking for money is selfish, that doing what you love should be enough, that profit equals greed. But look closer. The same people who sell you that guilt are the ones profiting the most. The world doesn't suffer from too many people making money. It suffers from too many people too scared to even try. You have something to offer. Maybe it's your story, your skill, your presence, your hands, whatever it is. If it matters to someone, it has value. And where there's value, there's income. The problem is not that success is hard. The problem is that people chase shadows instead of building light. They try to fit into jobs that kill them. They shrink to meet expectations. They climb ladders that go nowhere. And then they wonder why they feel empty at the top. True success is not about being admired. It's about being aligned. You don't need millions to feel free. You need to stop lying to yourself. You need to know what you bring and own it without shame. When you live like that, everything changes. You attract the right people. You make impact without noise. You sleep in peace because you no longer betray your own truth. That's the switch. That's the point when you stop chasing and start receiving. And the moment you feel it, really feel it, you realize success isn't a reward. It's a side effect of being who you really are. They've made you believe that being healthy is complicated, that you need doctors, pills, checkups, treatments, insurances, routines, and rules you can barely keep up with. They've sold you the image of wellness as a product. Smooth commercials with white coats, smiling faces, and miracle solutions. But none of it is real. The health industry, at its core, is not designed to keep you well. It's built to keep you coming back. The truth is far more simple and far less profitable. You are not sick by default. You are made sick by the food, the noise, the speed, the stress, the constant input that disconnects you from your own body. Your natural state is not pain. Your natural state is balance. And the closer you live to nature, your own and the world's, the stronger you become. They never told you that movement heals, that walking every day, stretching your spine, breathing deeply, drinking clean water, all of that builds real health. Not the gym membership, not the fancy supplements, just raw, honest, consistent care. But there's no money in that. So they convince you that you're broken, that something is always wrong, that you need a product, a prescription, a fix. But the fix becomes the addiction. You treat symptoms, not causes. You suppress the signals instead of listening to them. Your body speaks. It tells you when something is off. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is the warning. And ignoring it with pills doesn't cure it. It buries it deeper. And with time, that silence becomes damage. They poison your food, then sell you detox plans. They overload your mind, then sell you meditation apps. They engineer the problem, then monetize the solution. It's a brilliant business, and it thrives on ignorance. But you don't need to play the game. Health is not something you buy. It's something you live. Eat food that grew under the sun. Avoid what's been processed beyond recognition. Move your body every single day. Sleep like your life depends on it, because it does. And stop pouring toxins into your system, thinking they'll somehow lead to joy. Alcohol doesn't heal. Cigarettes don't calm. Energy drinks don't energize. These are illusions, crutches for a lifestyle that's already limping. Your body is not your enemy. It is your home, and it's always been on your side. even when you abused it, even when you ignored it, even when you punished it for not looking the way they said it should. Healing starts the moment you stop fighting your body and start listening to it. No one can do this work for you. No system, no doctor, no product. You, just you, with the truth in your hands, the power in your breath, and the decision to take your health back. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now. Because real health is not a miracle. It's a lifestyle, and it begins when you finally remember how human you truly are. From the very first classroom, you are not taught to think. You are taught to repeat. Memorize the facts. Follow the rules. Do not question the teacher. Obey the bell. This is not education. This is programming, and it runs deep. They condition you to sit still when your body wants to move, to stay silent when your mind wants to speak, to conform when your spirit wants to rebel. They reward compliance and punish originality. If you fit the mold, they call you smart. If you break it, they call you trouble. But the world was never changed by the obedient. It was changed by those who refused to sit quietly. The school system was not built to awaken your mind. It was built to shape you into a manageable, predictable adult. Someone who knows just enough to function, but not enough to question. They filled your head with formulas and historical dates, but they never taught you how to handle fear, grief, love, failure. They made you memorize the names of planets, but not how to navigate your own emotions. You spent years studying facts you forgot a week later, but no one showed you how to think for yourself. Critical thinking, emotional intelligence, creativity, these were optional, if present at all. And so most people leave school confused, not because they didn't learn, but because they were never shown what actually matters. The system trains you to chase grades, titles, approval. It teaches you to measure your worth by external validation. But true intelligence has nothing to do with certificates. It's in your curiosity, your questions, your courage to see differently. The worst part is that this conditioning doesn't end with graduation. It follows you into adulthood. You keep waiting for someone to tell you what to do. You stay afraid of mistakes. You need permission to change paths. You seek answers outside, while the real ones were always inside. But no one taught you how to trust that. You were told to trust the system, the experts, the authorities, and in doing so, you learned to silence yourself. But education should not be about control. It should be about awakening, not about fitting in, but breaking out. The world does not need more obedient workers. It needs alive minds. People who see beyond the surface. People who are not afraid to unlearn everything they were told. You don't have to stay trapped in the old model. You can learn differently. You can ask questions without fearing judgment. You can seek knowledge that makes you feel more human, not just more employable. Real education is messy. It's uncomfortable. It challenges you, but it also frees you. It makes you dangerous to those who benefit from your ignorance. And that is why they don't want you truly educated. Because once you wake up, you don't just change your life. You become impossible to control. And that's when learning finally begins. They told you that being alone is a failure, that if you don't have someone, something must be wrong with you. That love is the goal, and partnership is the prize. So you chase connection, not from fullness, but from fear. You look for someone to complete you, fix you, save you. But love built on fear always turns into control, dependence, and pain. Most relationships today are not based on truth. They are transactions. I give you attention. You give me validation. I give you presence. You give me identity. But real connection can't grow in that soil. When people are afraid to be alone, they bring that fear into the relationship. And fear always poisons love. That's why so many couples look connected on the outside, but feel empty on the inside. They share a house, a bed, a bank account, but not truth, not intimacy, not real presence. You were never taught how to be with yourself, how to sit in silence without needing distraction, how to feel your own presence without panic. So you reach for others to fill the space. But no one can fill what you keep abandoning. And so the cycle continues. Loneliness, distraction, codependence, collapse. It's not that people are bad at love. It's that they've been lied to about what love is. Love is not losing yourself in another person. It's not fixing them, saving them, or controlling them. It's meeting them from your own wholeness, not from your wounds. And that wholeness only comes when you learn to be enough for yourself. When your silence no longer scares you. When your own company becomes sacred, not shameful. They sell you the fairy tale because it's easy to sell. Perfect couples, endless romance, no struggle, no boredom, no triggers. But that story is a trap. Real relationships are mirrors. They show you your wounds, your shadows, your limits. And that's not a flaw. That's the point. But most people run from the mirror. They want comfort, not growth. They want safety, not truth. And so they settle, or they break, or they repeat the same cycle with someone new, thinking it will be different. But nothing changes until you do. Until you stop looking for someone to save you and start becoming that person for yourself. Not to avoid love, but to finally be ready for it. Because real love can only exist between two people who don't need each other, but choose each other, fully awake. Loneliness is not a punishment. It is a teacher. It shows you what you've been avoiding. It reveals the parts of you that still feel unloved, unseen, unwanted. And if you're brave enough to stay with it, not escape, not numb, it transforms. It becomes solitude. And solitude is sacred. It's the space where you meet yourself, where you heal, where you return to your center. From that place, you stop craving connection as a drug. You start offering it as a gift. And that is the shift. When love is no longer about filling the hole, but about expanding the light. When you stop being afraid of being alone, you finally become someone worth being with. That's when relationships stop being cages and start being fire. Not to burn you down, but to help you rise. You've spent your life walking through a world built on lies. Lies about success, health, love, value, power. You were told what to want, what to fear, who to be. You followed the script because everyone else did. Because the system rewards obedience and punishes awakening. But at some point, the noise starts to crack. Something inside you stirs. Not because someone tells you to wake up, but because you feel the weight of the mask. You feel the silence of your real self waiting beneath it all. Awakening is not a sudden explosion. It's a slow, painful peeling back. It begins with discomfort, then anger, then grief. Grief for the years lost, for the parts of yourself you abandoned, for the dreams you traded for approval. No one tells you that awakening breaks you first, because it has to. You cannot carry your old self into your new life. As the illusions fall, so do the roles. The role of the perfect child, the successful adult, the strong one, the fixer, the hero. You realize you've spent years trying to be who the world expected, not who you actually are. And underneath the image is someone raw, real, and alive. someone who feels everything deeply, someone who once knew what they wanted before it was shamed out of them. That self is still there, waiting, not to be found, but to be reclaimed. But the path back is not clean. It's not linear. It's not always beautiful. It's lonely, because few dare to walk it. It's heavy, because truth is heavier than fantasy. But it is also the only path that leads to peace. Because once you wake up, you can't go back. You can pretend, but the body knows, the soul knows. The illusion no longer fits. They will tell you you've changed, that you've lost your mind, that you're selfish, distant, too intense, too honest. And in a way, they're right. You have changed. You've stopped apologizing for existing. You've stopped shrinking to fit in. You've stopped playing the role of the quiet one, the easy one, the predictable one. And that threatens those who still live in the dream. Awakening is not just about seeing the system. It's about stepping out of it, living differently, thinking differently, choosing from your center, not from fear. And this terrifies the machine, because a person who cannot be controlled is dangerous. Not in a violent way, but in a sovereign way, in a way that makes systems irrelevant, in a way that breaks cycles simply by refusing to repeat them. The world won't change overnight, but you can. And when you do, the world around you begins to shift. You stop feeding what drains you. You stop chasing what wounds you. You stop seeking permission to be free. You simply are. Not perfectly, not always clearly, but truthfully. And that truth, lived consistently, is the beginning of real power. Not the kind they sell you, but the kind that cannot be bought. The kind that grows from the inside. The kind that stands quietly, unshaken, no matter what storms come. Because awakening is not about escaping life. It's about entering it fully. Eyes open, heart open. No more masks, no more lies. Just you, raw, whole, and finally alive. You were not born to chase paychecks, collect likes, or survive until the weekend. You were not created to sit in traffic, pay bills, and numb your soul with distractions. But that's the version of life they sold you. From the moment you could understand words, they began shaping your mind, telling you what matters, telling you who you are. Ads told you what to buy. Schools told you what to believe. Culture told you what to fear. And slowly, layer by layer, they buried your essence under roles, expectations, and noise. But deep down, beneath all of it, something in you always knew. This can't be it. This can't be the reason I came here. You were born for more. Not more things, but more truth, more depth, more purpose. You were born with the ability to imagine, to create, to feel the world in ways machines never will. You carry fire in your mind, light in your voice, power in your presence. But they don't want you to know that, because awakened people don't buy as much. They don't obey as easily. They don't fear the same things. So the system needs you small. It needs you distracted, insecure, exhausted. Because when you forget your value, you become a perfect consumer. But you are not a consumer. You are a creator. You are not a machine. You are a force of nature disguised as a person, capable of shaking worlds simply by being fully yourself. You were not born to follow. You were born to remember your voice before it was silenced, your curiosity before it was shamed, your wildness before it was tamed. The world needs that version of you, not the polished mask, not the edited persona, but the real, raw, awake soul underneath. That is your gift. That is your power. And that is what they fear. Because one person fully alive, can break the illusion for thousands. One person, living with truth in their veins, becomes a mirror that makes others question everything. Not by preaching, not by pushing, just by being real in a world that forgot how. You were not meant to fit into this broken system. You were meant to rise above it, to see through it, to live beyond it. Your worth is not based on what you earn, how you look, or how many people approve of you. Your worth is in your being, in your ability to feel, to love, to stand up when it's easier to sit down, in your refusal to settle for a shallow life. You don't need to become more. You need to return to what you already are, before the noise, before the fear, before the lie. They lied to you about who you are, but now you know. You are not weak. You are not lost. You are not broken. You are just waking up. And once that awakening begins, it cannot be stopped. The truth is not always easy, but it is always worth it. Because once you see clearly, you can finally live fully. And when you live like that, not half asleep, not on autopilot, but fully present, fully alive, you don't just change your life. You change the world. Quietly, powerfully, from the inside out. We're sure you've discovered plenty of value, so subscribe now and stay connected.